I had a band with one of the former original members of Menudo for a while before Low and Sweet Orchestra, which was called Sweet and Low. And basically, as a I named it after the artificial sweetener for several reasons. One of the reasons being if they ever found out that we were using their name and asked us to cease and desist, that would mean that we had made it to a point where we were known well enough that it would get back to the company. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I would throw the record company a hairy hand, which I did. I actually had it go through the legal department and all the contracts that the new name of the group, once the Cumberland Packing Corporation, which is Sweet and Low, artificial sweetener, found out that we were using the name Sweet and Low, which I told them was from the Lord Tennyson poem, that if they told us to stop using the name, I would throw the record company what I call a hairy hand. Now, a hairy hand is a technique that you use, which is, say, if you were an artist and you were commissioned by the Duke of Windsor to do a portrait of the Duchess of Windsor. As an artist, you know that the Duke is spending a lot of money and he is very particular about the portrait and wants to also justify his position as the Duke. So, by making changes. So what you do is you do a portrait the best you can of the Duchess, and then you put a big hairy gorilla hand in the foreground of the painting. And when the Duke sees, when you unveil the painting to the Duke is like, what in the fuck is that? And you say, what? It's like, there's a giant gorilla hand in the foreground of the portrait, which you immediately say, I don't see any gorilla hand. It's like, right there, there's a gorilla hand in the portrait. And you say, okay, oh yeah, I see it now. Oh, do you want me to take that out? Yes, please. Once you've taken the hairy gorilla hand out of the foreground of the portrait, the Duke thinks that the portrait is fine, so that you have no more revisions, no more changes. So in essence, that's the technique I used with the record company. When I was told to stop using the name Sweet and Low, I gave them the name Early Grave Orchestra. And what is there to embrace about an early grave? Nothing. So they hated it. But I had them take it through legal and put it on all our contracts and asked them their opinion later on, like I was an idiot. Like I didn't know, hey, I didn't know what I did. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're like, well, the truth is that we all hate it. I said, oh, do you want me to change it? And they said, yes, please. And I said, well, why don't we just turn the name around to the Low and Sweet Orchestra? Boom, no more changes. Hairy gorilla hand.